All right. Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I'm glad that you're watching Afrique 24-hour TV. Of course, this is our daily political talk show. Today, being Monday, 22nd April 2024, I take this opportunity to welcome everybody towards this show. I know what is happening currently. People are still on the mourning mood as we are mourning our departed gallant soldiers, and we really pray that their families of the bereaved families get peace within their hearts to overcome this situation. So welcome to today's show. Of course, there's a lot that we're going to discuss. There's a lot that happened over the weekend. Apart from the burial of the CDF General Ogola, we also had one of the gallant soldiers who also passed away, who was buried on Friday. That is at a place called Utange in Mombasa or Kilifi County. I'll have to counter check so that I can be able to get to know the right county. So karibuni sana. If you're joining me for the first time, ensure that you subscribe to our channel. There's Afrique 24 Hour. We are live, of course, in Facebook. We are live in X, that is formerly Twitter. We also live in YouTube. And the ones who are joining me from different platforms, you can participate in this conversation by typing your comments, your views, and your messages through the comment section. And if you so wish to join me in studio, I'm sharing a link on the comment section, so you can use the link and join me in studio. Before I initiate the discussion, of course, if you look at the title, if you join through YouTube, you'll find that we're going to look at the term limit legislative proposal by the Senator Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei, and I'll take you through some of the proposals in that bill. And shall that bill pass, we are going to have the term limit of the president, the members of parliament, and all the elective positions extended from 5 years to 7 years. Of course, we're going to look at that. There's a proposal by Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei that is proposing to increase the term limit, among other proposals that have been marinated with it to ensure that the people involved pass it in totality. So I'll take you through that. Before I do that, I just want to know where you're joining me from. Ensure that you type your comments on the comment section over there. And there's something interesting that is happening in the State House that I would really want us to know what is happening. There is a taking over of the Kenya Defense Forces, and the swearing ceremony taking place right now in State House. I just want to take you to State House so that you can be able to follow one-on-one what is happening. I know people have been asking who is going to take over at the CDF and such kind of things. So there's some swearing in taking place in State House. So I'll take you to State House so that we can be able to follow up what is taking place. Thank you so much for joining this show, and keep it here at Afrique 24-hour TV.
That you have the wherewithal to secure our nation and to discharge your responsibilities and mandate as established by our Constitution. Myself, my deputy, and all members of government will work as we have done to ensure that Kenya becomes a united country. It is my desire that we eliminate tribalism and ethnicity, marginalization in our nation, that we consolidate our country into a united, progressive, peaceful, and stable nation. It is the way we are going to make progress in Kenya. As you provide security and stability for our nation, we will work smart and hard to make sure that we deliver on our commitments to the people of Kenya, ensuring food security, making sure that Kenyans have a decent home, making sure that Kenyans live in dignity, ensuring that millions of our children have jobs and have hope in our country, ensuring that every Kenyan can access health across the country, and making sure that we leave no Kenyan behind. The CDF is here, and he will provide the necessary leadership in the whole of KDF, so that again, together we can move together into the future. This is a great morning. I know it is a solemn morning that we are in this function that is significant to the nation, to yourselves as officers, and to your families. Again, congratulations to you. My very best wishes as you discharge your responsibilities. And as I do that, I have two very senior Kenyans in our midst who are now ambassadors, General Mwangi and General Njiru. Generals, my very best wishes as you transit into your new responsibilities in the service of the nation. Pongezini sana. Please, you can take your seats. I must also say that I was very privileged to work with General Mwangi as our PCDF and General Njiru as our Army Commander, and they have discharged their responsibilities with distinction. To you and your families, I wish you well. I look forward to working with you in your new responsibilities. I know that I have given you difficult stations. Tehran and Islamabad are not very easy stations, but I know that you are up to that responsibility. Pakistan, we all know what's going on there. We also know what's going on in Iran. And that is why I believe that senior citizens like yourselves who have wide experience are the best people to man those stations. So again, I look forward to you serving the nation in your new responsibilities, and also to mentor the new officers who are coming into office, so that we can have better leaders tomorrow than we have today. It is also what we are doing in our side, mentoring others so that we can have better leadership for our nation. So asanteni sana, nawatakia heri na baraka. Kwa wale officers ambao mumepata nafasi mpya, hapa mbele tutakutana ndio tuweze kushauriana vile tunaweza kufanya kazi pamoja. Asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki. God bless.
Your Excellency, sir, we request for a few minutes to take some refreshments as we prepare this area for a brief photo session. But we have refreshments ready. If we can all proceed for a few minutes as we prepare the area for a photo session. Thank you.
While we all remain standing, permit me to invite Colonel Alfayo, the Principal Chaplain, Kenya Defense Forces, to lead us in a word of prayer.
Shall we pray? Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, we bow down this day to adore you, for you alone rule over all nations and direct them according to your will. Guide and protect our President, who is our Commander-in-Chief. We also pray for all our leaders in our country, that they will lead in peace for the honor and development of our nation. Gracious Father, hear our prayers of thanksgiving as we come to share the joy of approval, promotion, and appointments that in your grace you have bestowed upon Lieutenant General Charles Mureu Kahiri, Lieutenant General David Kamayo Tarus, Major General Thomas Cherargei Nganga, Lieutenant General Jimson Longiro, Lieutenant General Juma She Munyikai, and Major General Luke Kipkemoi Kuto. We beseech you, O Lord, that you may look down from your heavenly throne upon them, all who have been promoted and appointed, to fill them with your spirit of wise counsel and wisdom, and your favor may always be with them. May you accompany them in every step they take, as you are with your servant, General Joshua, granting him success as he led your people, the Israelites, into the promised land. May they be assured of your presence and guidance. Grant them good health of body, mind, and spirit to discharge the divine tasks that have been assigned to them. And now may your peace, O God, that surpasses all human understanding, keep our hearts and minds in the knowledge and love of God. And the blessings of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be with you, Your Excellency. Be with you, our Prime Cabinet Secretary. Be with you, our CS Defense. Be with you, our CDF, our PS, our VCDF, the service commanders and the general officers, and all our families and the members of this country, the citizens of this country, and our soldiers scattered all over, those who are within the country and those who are outside our country, that, Lord, you may bless them in a very special way, now and forever. Amen.
You may kindly take your seats. Your Excellency, the President, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Your Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Cabinet Secretary for Defense, the Chief of Defense Forces, all members of the National Security Council present, honored guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This state ceremony is convened pursuant to Article 74 of the Constitution and the Kenya Defense Forces Act for the investiture of rank to the general officers, and thereafter for the swearing in of the newly appointed Vice Chief of the Defense Forces and 2 new service commanders. The newly appointed Vice Chief of Defense Forces, Commander Kenya Army and Commander Kenya Navy, have been appointed by Your Excellency following the recommendations of the Defense Council in accordance with Article 241 of the Constitution, as read with Section 23 of the Kenya Defense Forces Act 2012. With Your Excellency's kind indulgence and permission, I now invite Your Excellency, as the Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, to confer and install the new ranks to the VCDF designate, the 2 service commanders and other senior officers. I also invite the CDF to facilitate the investiture of ranks to the esteemed officers. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, I now call upon Lieutenant General Charles Morio Kaharagi, Vice Chief of Defense Forces. Your Excellency, I now call upon Lieutenant General David Kimayo Tarus, Commander, Kenya Army. Your Excellency, I now call upon Major General Thomas Cherargei Ng'ang'a, Commander, Kenya Navy. Your Excellency, I now call upon Lieutenant General Jimson Longiro Mutai, Vice Chancellor, National Defense University, Kenya.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Thank you, Stella, for reminding me that. And of course, Stella, I'm waiting for you. Thank you so much. Away from what we were watching, that was something that happened before the day when General Ogola was being conferred or such kind of things. But away from that, I want us to look at this bill that has been brought to Senate by Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei. Is a bill that is proposing to interfere with the term limits. I just want to give you highlights before we weigh on it. So these are some of the things that are going to happen in that bill. Shall it sail through? And I want us to see the possibility of this bill sailing through, because it is a bill that has really been packaged. It has got some bait that somebody reading it will really gaze and predict that it's going to go through. Number one, the bill proposes to increase the term limits of the president, legislative, MPs. When I talk of MPs, I mean both the senators and the members of Senate and the members of the National Assembly, governors and MCAs to 7 years from 5. Remember, currently the term limit for the MCA, senator, governor, members of parliament means the MPs and the women reps, it's normally 5 years. But Cherargei proposes that it be increased from 5 to 7. Number two, the bill proposes to create office of the prime minister, something that is not there. I want you to get me clearly. Number one, increase the term limit of the president, MPs. When I say MPs, I mean senator, MP, and women rep, governors and MCAs. They want to increase it from 5 to 7. National Assembly, they want to create the office of the prime minister. The bill also proposes that Senate to vet cabinet secretaries. Remember, the vetting of the cabinet secretaries and the top government officials is normally done at the National Assembly. But Cherargei's bill is proposing that the Senate will have the powers to vet the cabinet secretary, attorney general, auditor general, police, inspector general, chief justice, and judges. Then the National Assembly will have to vet ambassadors, Senate to vet the cabinet secretary. I've told you that, and the counties they're also proposing to get 40% of national revenue from current 15. Remember, the current constitution states that the counties get a minimum of 15. A maximum can be 100. But they now want to make it by law that they get a minimum of 40%. Then they also propose, not they, Cherargei is also proposing in his bill the impeachment of governor and deputy governor to be challenged in Supreme Court only. Remember, currently the impeachment of governor and deputy governor can be challenged in a high court. Then the courts shall make determination of the case within 30 days. Both houses of parliament, that is the Senate and the National Assembly, to approve the deployment of the KDF. These are some of the developing story that we have, whereby Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei is proposing the increase of the presidential term limit. But Cherargei is wise enough. He did just say we propose the term limit of the president. He's saying we increase the one for the president, the MPs, the women reps, the senators, and the MCAs from 5 to 7. Meaning, if this bill is brought before the parliament will feel that, okay, this thing is going to favor us. Our terms are also going to be increased. So they want to view it in a way that they want to increase the term limit of the president, who currently is William Ruto. And again, to make the debate so strong, if also proposed to increase the amount that is being remitted to the counties. The minimum is always 15%, but they want to raise it to a minimum of 40%. I don't know what you're taking. What is your take on that? So I welcome you for this conversation. And as Kenyans, I feel so aggrieved that a senator can sit somewhere and plan how they want to increase their term, how they feel that the 5 years that the constitution gave them is not enough for them to loot and exploit Kenyans. They want to make it 7. They want to increase the suffering from 5 years. You know, when you make a wrong mistake, you'll always have to suffer for 5 years. But they want to ensure that if you make a wrong mistake, you not only suffer for 5 years, but you have to suffer for 7 years. So I feel this is ill advice. So I just want to get your view on this. You can join this show using the link that I'm going to share on the comment section. You can also use the comment section to type and let me know your views concerning this. I can already see there are people who've joined and they're already sharing their views. I can see Remote Chepkwon who is saying na hiyo yote itawekana watabisha awa wabunge seneti woiwoi. I think I read it well. Goodyear is also there. Thank you so much. TRM, thank you so much. Stella Wangari, Stella, I'm waiting for you to help me tackle this. The possibility of these guys changing this, and if there's anything as Kenyans we can do to ensure that we block such kind of bills even from being discussed in Senate and our national assemblies. So karibuni sana. If you're joining me for the first time, ensure that you subscribe to Afrique 24-hour TV. Of course, this is our open political talk show, a show that gives you time to interact with Kenyan politics irrespective of your political affiliation, with an aim of ensuring that we shape the politics of our country positively, and we ensure that things are not being done well, we correct them and ensure that they're being done well. I can see Boniface Kimans have already joined me in the studio, so if you've not joined me, ensure that you do so that we can be able to have a candid conversation on how to change this country. We should not just be citizens, we shouldn't be citizens who react on what our rogue leaders have done, but we should prevent them from doing such kind of things. Like right now, they're planning to increase the term limit. As a responsible citizen, do you believe this is possible? Do you believe this is the right thing to do? If you don't believe so, then how do you voice out and oppose it before even it is discussed? I give you that opportunity to use the comment section or join me in studio the way I'm going to me, so that we can have this candid conversation. TRM is saying that 5 years is too short. Increase to at least 8 years. TRM, I want you in studio so that you can tell us why we need to give these people 8 years. If you make a wrong mistake, you need 8 years. But first, thank you so much for joining today's show. Let me welcome you to say hello. And of course, I know you have a lot to weigh on this. So, karibu sana Boni.
Thank you so much, Leo, for the opportunity today. And today being on Monday, we have the energy to start off the week here in Africa 24 because it is here where we give you the best ideas when it comes to politics. And also, we discuss more about how are we going to pioneer our country, that is Kenya, and those stories that cover the entire Africa and also the whole world. Wherever you're watching Africa 24, make sure you stay here until the end because you're going to be educated and get informed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Boniface. I know the weekend has really been long. We've had several things happening. Of course, we will also get time to discuss that. And finally, yesterday, we witnessed the send-off, the final journey of our commander of Defense Force, that is CDF General Francis Ogola, a funeral that was conducted in Alego, that is the county of Siaya, and the event happened at Kogelo Primary School. We can say that the send-off was really successful. It was really an honor to give General Ogola a befitting send-off, and devoid of politics. The organizers of the event really appreciated, and we need to congratulate them for giving a befitting send-off to a neutral soldier. There was no politics during the funeral. We didn't see any negative scene like we are used to. You know, in Kenya, when we are having a burial of such prominent people, it's normally characterized by chaos and a lot of politics that involves hatred and such kind of things. But what happened yesterday, there was no politics, and they really gave General Ogola what he deserved as a gallant soldier. So maybe before we go to today's discussion, before we discuss these term limits that is proposed by Senator Cherargei, I just want to get your views on how the send-off was. Do you think what they accorded Ogola is what he deserved, or do you think there's anything that happened that ought not to have happened during his send-offs? I just want to get your views on that before we proceed with our normal discussion. It's good to know your feedback after watching that event that was streamed live in so many channels within this country. First, if you hear me, you can just mute and give me your opinion on the send-off of General. You really watched and followed how he was given a befitting send-off. Are you satisfied with the kind of send-off that he was given, or is there any comment that you can make on it?
Oh, thank you. I witnessed, although I did not attend the real function, that is physically, but I saw it via the social media and also the TV stations. Of course, every Kenyans were ready to see what happened to the send-off of Francis Ogola, who was the CDF of Kenya Defense Forces. So what I can say is that the honor was up to maximum, and he was given the respect that he deserved. But again, a lot of things encroached during the send-off of Francis Ogola. Different leaders gave a lot of speeches, and the speeches always are the key things that Kenyans want. We saw what Moses Wetangula said, we saw what Musalia Mudavadi says, we saw what Kalonzo Matha Karua, and the master of that send-off was Oburu Odinga, who spoke a lot of powerful words that left Kenyans amazed. So we saw what the son of Francis Ogola, who was Joel, was giving speeches, and the Kenyans were left shocked because the guy talks is like he knows something that Kenyans don't know. And it's like, what I can say is like Joel protected President William Ruto and the entire government, because the way he spoke, I can be assured that he wanted to protect the government. That is all what I can speculate. But again, I don't have the evidence. So what I can say is that a lot of things happened. But what made me get surprised is how the father of Francis Ogola was being carried on that ceremony, because people tend to forget that he is the pillar of Francis Ogola. I saw Mzee there towards the barrio where Ogola was going to be arrested. But again, he was alone. Nobody assisted even him to even get some spades to throw inside the grave of his son. So it's like people concentrated more on Ogola and forgot about themselves. So a lot of things happened in the barrio. So we're going to discuss them. But again, Kenyans always have speculations. And Uhuru Dinga, the other leaders there, asked a lot of questions. We hope the government is going to give us the best investigation when it comes to the death of Francis Ogola and the other leaders. And again, the government should neutralize and should balance the support that they are giving to those KDF soldiers. We lost other soldiers during that plane crash. So what you can say is that the support they gave to Francis Ogola, it should apply to the other soldiers who were involved in that plane crash. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bonnie, for that view. Of course, you've also mentioned that there are the soldiers who also crashed in the same plane, but you feel like they aren't given much attention. Though people will tell you, there's one of them who was buried, I think, the other day in Utange. That is I don't know if it is Mombasa or Kilifi County. Apart from that, people say that maybe Ogola was given much attention because of the will that he wrote that when he died, he'd be laid to rest within 72 hours. And apart from that, he also overshadowed the other members who are with him, who are his juniors, because no, CDF, this is the commander of the defense force. He's the one, he's the boss. Yeah, even in an event, your boss will always have to be given acknowledgement. Before they acknowledge you, they'll always ensure that they acknowledge your boss. So it's natural. We don't have to complain too much. Though what we've also agreed is that the kind of the send-off that was given was one of its own. It was devoid of the politics, and it was like the country was united. But there's something also happened strange. People did not see the retired Prime Minister Raila Odinga attend the funeral, despite the fact that he was there during the Requiem Mass that was held at Ulinzi Sports Complex in Langata. But people expected to see him at home. Remember, Raila and Ogola are blood relatives. Ogola is Raila's uncle, because Raila's mother and Ogola hails from the same family. Actually, they have some blood ties. And apart from that, where he was being buried is just 6 kilometers or 7 kilometers from Opoda Farm, where Raila hails from. They come from the same county. So what do you think happened? Why is it that Raila was not able to attend this kind of funeral? And he sent his brother Uburu, of course, and on political matters, he sent Kalonzo and Karwas to go and represent him. Later on, Kenyans managed to see him watching the Mashemedi Derby. What do you take of that?
I don't know what I can say when it comes to Raila and former president not attending that burial. Maybe I can speculate. Maybe they had differences with Ogola, and maybe they did not like him. So I don't know what I can say. But again, when it comes to this state burial, this one was a state burial. So I thought they could attend. And Raila could be there so that he can give a very powerful speech concerning what is happening to the Luo leaders, leaders who are in Luo positions. People were saying that the top leaders in Luo nations are being assassinated. So Raila could be there because he's the kingpin now for the Luo nation and the Western region. So he could be there so that he can give his speech very clearly, because a lot of people attended that party. Even the president was there. So Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta not attending the burial, I don't know what I can say. But again, this is Kenya, and you know that Africa, a lot of things happen.
Before you proceed, there's a comment there that maybe I just want us to make things clear. There's a comment from Kenyan Revolutionary. Bulu told us that Raila was sick. Maybe we did manage to air the event here live, and what Bulu said is that his brother was indisposed. And if you check, you'll find that indisposed could mean reluctant, unwilling, disinclined, locked, and prepared, not ready, not keen, not minded, not in the mood, slow, hesitant, afraid, averse, antipathetic, resistant, opposed, nervous about, not in favor of, and many other meanings. So maybe to Kenya Revolutionary, Uhuru, maybe we can say he did not say Raila was sick, but he just said Raila was indisposed, which have got several meanings. So Bonnie, let us proceed. You're saying that Raila's presence maybe would have given him an opportunity to call out on the government and the successive government on what you call terminating the lives of prominent Luo leaders, or what others who are so aggressive will call assassination, for what we've heard so many leaders say. Do you think that Raila avoided this event because he had a contrary opinion to President Ruto, because Ruto believed and confirmed that this wasn't an assassination? Him and Ogola were friends, and he did it out of good faith to award Ogola that position. And maybe Raila believed that this one was not true. Does it mean that Raila avoided that kind of conflict, and to allow things run smoothly without contradicting the president, he decided to keep off?
You know, I saw how people aligned on the roads during that day when the body of Francis Ogola was being transported to his home. And you know that Raila is the president of people. I have been hearing that people are saying that Raila is the president of people. And again, we had him in the Ulinzi Sport ground, whereby he was saying that Ogola, he knew Ogola personally, and Ogola could not overturn President William Ruto win. That is August 2022 general election. So it's like Raila Amolo Odinga said that Ogola could not do that, so that William Ruto can even give a revenge on what people were saying. But again, we know that that burial was being held in Siaya, and you know Siaya is a Luo nation. So Raila is like he was not able to join the burial because he feared that his supporters can cause a lot of fights. And again, we saw what was happening when Rigathi Gachagua and William Ruto were talking. A lot of people were heckling to them. It's like they wanted to pass an information that was not being conveyed to them. So there was a lot of heckling. Even when the president was talking, Rigathi Gachagua was forced to cut the speech because people were heckling at him and a lot of things were being said there. So it's like people wanted to cause fights during that Bari. But again, what I know is that Raila Amolo Odinga is very brilliant. Maybe he foresaw that, and that is why he did not go there, because he feared that people can cause a lot of damages, and the damages will always be falling on his part. So he decided to send Oburu Odinga. But again, he could go there. You know, if it is going to happen, then it happens. We saw what happened in 2007. So Ogola died. He was 61 years old. And again, we have a lot of rhetorical questions that are left not answered. So what I can say is that Raila could go there, because if you're a man and you believe that you are fighting for this country and you know that you are the leader of the opposition, you can always go in any place at any time, because you represent the people of Kenya and you fight for the people of Kenya. So you could go there, give the speech. If the crowd is going to blast, then it will blast, because we had a lot of securities there and they could control the crowd. So Raila made a big mistake of not going there. And people will be terming him as a soft guy compared to what we saw. You need to be an radical, like William Samoei Ruto. People were talking a lot of things according to the death of Francis Ogola, but William Ruto went there. He doesn't fear anything. What I like about our president is that he is very brave he doesn't fear anything. Even if you say what, he's going to give his speech and attend at any place at any time because he's the president of Kenya. So Raila not attending the burial, I was very shocked, and I thought that he has done a very bad thing to the people of Kenya, not joining that burial.
I get you. And maybe Boniface, just a question. Do you think Raila keeping off the burial, which maybe, according to you, might have turned political, having the fact that Raila had a different opinion to what the president had? Number one, I'll tell you why I'm saying that. When we had a Requiem Mass in Langata, that is Ulinzi Sport Complex, Raila called on president and told the president that he knew Ogola very well, and there was no way Ogola will contemplate to overturn his win. And that is something that Ruto maintained, that Ogola was present in Bomas, and it is a narrative that was even passed by the CS defense, that is Aden Duale. Secondly, Raila also had a belief that this is a political assassination, having mentioned what has happened before the plane crashes and called on president to ensure that they do a thorough investigation that will satisfy people to end this speculation. So do you think that Raila kept off because he did not want confrontation with the government in power so that he can protect his vision of becoming the AU chair? Remember, for him to become the AU chair, and of course he needs the support of the government in power to do some mobilization and to do some shuttle diplomacy. And he also needs to keep off local politics. Did Raila choose his personal interest of becoming the AU chair against standing for what he always stood for?
I don't know what I can say, but what I think is that Raila not going there so that he can protect his chance to join the AU by the support from William Samoei Ruto. And now there he acted as a Kapukusi. So I don't know what I can say. But again, he should have attended the burial because AU is very small compared to how he should have represented the Luo nation. You know, when it comes to the politics of the country, I think AU, you are going to represent all the countries in the continent of Africa. So even if it is a top position, then people will recognize you as a representative of the continent. But again, being the president and also working, dying, being there for the people of your country, then people will always remember you because of the legacy that you did and you left. Because people are suffering. And if we don't take this thing serious, then you're going to change from democracy to dictatorship. So I think that one was so bad for him not to attend them.
All right, I can see the comments there. Lucharia is saying that Raila chose his position over his uncle's funeral, but also looking at it the other way. Maybe he chose peace over violence because they did on there. The people present there were charged. Of course, I'll play for you some videos. There's a certain gentleman called Mwalimu Doyowidi who went there donning UDA regalia, and he had to be protected by the KDF when the mourners over there were baying for his blood. So to avoid having a funeral within a funeral, the KDF had to whisk him away. Goodyear is saying, remember, Uhuru is the one who gave Ogola the platform. I think this is also another important point to look at it. Uhuru wasn't present. He sent his condolences, and we all know for Ogola to reach that point, that he was to be appointed as a CDF, this platform was given by the former president, that is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So Uhuru appointed Ogola actually and placed him at the top on the table, which made him to be among the people to be selected. Uhuru Kenyatta wasn't present. I don't know your take on that. The people heckled because of misinformation. The people thought there was a foul play. That is what Geoffrey Ruto is saying. People thought there was a foul play. Okay, I get you. Kenya revolutionary, Raila's conman, he's not a president of anything. Raila is a disgrace to human race. That is Kenyan revolutionary. Let me see. Robinson Cheriot, this person betrayed his mentor by showing Duale messages which he ought to be confidential. Do you think that Duale was right to say that he was shown the messages? And Boniface, do you think this one really destroyed Ogola's legacy, despite having that nice legacy rising from the ranks to top? And if it is true, he showed Duale some messages alluding that he was to interfere with the elections. Is this somebody that can be trusted? Is it not speaking negatively of Ogola's personality?
Yeah. Thank you. What I can say about this is that when you talk to someone, and you know politics is a mind game. So if there was a leakage between the conversation and someone saw some messages that were confidential, then that one was a big mistake, because I tend to believe that if you talk with someone, you know, you should not leak information anyhow, even if you are so anxious for what. So maybe the conversation is the downfall of him, but again, you should always remain private, because I tend to believe that if you do something, maintain that secret, because anything you're going to reveal will haunt you.
I get you. Goodyear is saying that fingers are pointing at three directions. Who know what's happened to Ogola? The truth will never be known after the 6th month of investigation to what happened. Of course, Kenyans who've lived long enough will tell you that it's not the first time that you're having these commissions of inquiry. We had it when the late Thomas Joseph Mboya passed. We had it when Dr. Robert Ouko passed, when Odhiambo Mbai passed, I don't know, Musando, and you can name them, JJ Karaoke, and so on and so forth. But Kenyans have never had an opportunity to be told exactly what happened. And I think that is why Kenyans keep on speculating. Why do we speculate? Simply because we never given a satisfactory report. Robinson Cheriot, the son, was behaving like the general and he embarrassed the whole world. We should respect by respecting the elders and the visitors. We are Africa at the end of the day. Thank you so much. So, Bonnie, away from that, of course, we say rest in peace, General Ogola. Rest in peace, all the KDF who succumbed in that fateful accident. I want us to take a 30. Okay. We say rest in peace. That happened. We still remain to be Kenyans. We focus and pray for a better country as we wait for the report from the investigators to tell us what exactly happened and how the plane came down. I know people like Kenya Revolutionary would want leaders to confront the president, to confront the government. And after the death of Tom Mboya, you saw what happened in Kisumu. There was a massacre because of the speeches that were given by leaders. And somebody will think that maybe what Raila did, skipping the funeral, was wrong. But somebody will also believe that he did not want to see a repeat of what happened in 1969 in revolutionaries' home village, that is Kisumu, when Luos were feared, were really sprayed with live bullets, simply because of leaders who claimed that Kenyatta had killed Tom Mboya, and this one angered people. So imagine Raila went to that funeral.
Leo.
So I'll allow you.
Leo.
Yes.
Leo, stop the propaganda. If the Luos wanted to riot, like in 1969, they could have rioted immediately when Ruto was there. Okay? Whether Raila was there or not.
But they did not have had a catalyst. In 1969, there are people who catalyzed them to do that.
Yeah, you don't need a catalyst. Everyone
spoke about it so much. So
Leo,
when
Leo,
Raila kept quiet, doesn't
Leo, listen.
Yes.
What Raila did was the most disrespectful thing you can ever do. If he would have stayed somewhere at home and hid himself for the rest of the day, then come up with an excuse in the morning, we could have believed him. But to go to a football match instead of attending the burial of a general who is related to you, somebody who is a national figure, a hero, and you fail to show up. He was
there in the class.
Huh?
He was there in Langata.
This was the burial. There's a difference. This is a burial.
Yeah, I get you.
This is a burial. You miss it, and not only that, tunakuona ukicheka ukiangalia Gor Mahia versus AFC Leopard. How disrespectful is that? Stop looking at this, kujaribu to make excuses for this con man. This man should be stoned anywhere he shows up. You cannot go away with that. You cannot get away with that. Okay? At least I can understand Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta, he doesn't care. He probably wanted Ogola dead. So I won't be surprised he didn't show up. But for Raila Odinga, that's inexcusable. We cannot make excuses that that was inexcusable. And his brother had the audacity to chastise the young boy who was giving his view. I know most people are saying that, he was siding with the president. He has the right to his opinion. He can opine the way he wants. That's how he mourns his father. Okay? So for those who are criticizing that Ogola's son, they need to go and find something else to do. That boy had the right to say what he said. Okay? But
I get you.
Again, the point must be stressed here. Raila was very disrespectful to the Luo nation, not only to the Luo nation, but to the nation as a whole. And he does not deserve that AUC seat.
What was Raila supposed to do? Kenya Revolutionary?
At least not show up in a football match when somebody is being buried who is your relative, who is a national figure.
And I want to look at it in this direction.
I can't look at it other way, Ruth Nani. Stop it.
I get you, my brother. I want you to look at it in this direction. What if Raila went and had a contrary opinion to what the president had, and you know your people. I know you know your people.
To the funeral to offer your opinion.
All I'm just asking you know how reactive your people are. What would have happened?
I'm answering you. All Raila had to do was go there, even if he didn't want to give a contrary opinion. All he had to do was go there, pay the respects, and say, let the investigation happen, then we shall take it from there. He didn't have to take a position. All he had to do was go there and eulogize, say good things about Ogola, and leave. That will be respectable. But not to show up and go to a football match, that's more important than paying respect to your relative.
I get you. Look at this scenario. They say that failure to take a position means you support the position that has already been taken. Had Raila gone there and failed to take a position, will it not be interpreted that he agrees with the president?
This is the point you're missing. You don't go to funerals to give opinions or to take positions. You go to pay respect to the person who has passed on. You don't go there to take a position. So I don't know why you're so obsessed with saying this position. Raila was supposed to go there to pay respect, the send-off of General Ogola, not to take a position. Okay?
I get you.
So he could have been non-political. All he had to do was just talk about Ogola and the great things and the relationship that he had. But he skipped that and went and was cheesing and laughing and watching Gor Mahia while somebody's being buried. And you still call this man at the people's. This man is a con man. He's even worse in my list now. You know, I had Uhuru as the worst person in the list. Now it is con man Raila Odinga is in his list right now. In my shit list. He's number 1 now.
I hate you. Look at this comment. Robinson Cherargei is saying Raila owes nobody an apology. He is a private citizen. I will never have attended the burial. If I was Raila, did Ogola attend Fidel's burial? Let us not be petty. That is Robinson Cherargei.
Can you read that again? I didn't hear you.
Raila owes nobody an apology. He is a private citizen. I would never have attended the burial if I was Raila. Did Ogola attend Fidel's burial. Let us not be petty.
We were not told if Ogola attended Raila's son burial. Number two, Raila is not a private citizen. Let's get that straight. He's a public figure.
Raila is a private citizen. Come on.
Do you want me to finish? He's not.
Okay, finish.
He's a public figure. Why do you see him going around talking about ODM and criticizing the government? Okay. So even
who
if
gave
he's
him
not
that mandate? Who gave him the mandate?
Even if he does not hold a public office, he's a public figure. He's a national figure. And for somebody who's number one is his relative, number two is a public figure, and he fails to go there. And not only that, chooses to go to a football match,
which was so dear.
I'm done. Okay, I'm done. I can't help you. I can't help you. If this is how you're gonna reason, I can't help you. I can't.
All right,
I can't go through this.
I get you. Now, Kenya Revolution, I want you to look at this. This is the last question I'm asking you, then we are moving on to something important and I need your input on it, of course. Do you think that Raila's keeping the event had got something to do with his quest to become the AU chairman? So he decided to choose, because going there and meddling in the politics of the funeral and the burial and such kind of things maybe is not part of what is required of him. So he decided to choose AU over having some differences with the government that he expects to support his AU bid.
Leo, why do you think, I don't know why you are so fixed on funerals are not a place where you go to give your position or to debate with the government or agree or disagree with the government.
Presidents has proved it that is where politicians go to make their
but listen
sentiment.
to me. Even if
it's
you
based
wanted
on precedents, no facts, but based on precedents.
Jesus, I don't know how to help you. I'm saying
all right,
this.
proceed. Yeah.
He didn't have to go give in his position or to say anything political. It wouldn't affect his quest for AUC seat. All he was to do is to go pay respect, his final respect. What did you go to? People go to, you're supposed to go to a burial to show your last respect for that person. You don't go there to politic. Nani, come on, stop it. Open your eyes.
Stop it.
So him not showing up, you can't say that he didn't show up there because he didn't want to pingana na rais. He didn't have to get political. Just pay respect to Ogola. At least honor him that way. But failure to show up, then we see you giggling and watching at Gor Mahia. That is the most disrespectful thing you can ever show Kenyans, let alone Luo Nation.
I get you. So, Kenya Revolution, I want us to move on to the next thing. Okay, that was just by way. I was just getting people's feelings on what happened on the burial. I wanted to know if people felt that the burial was a decent send-off, of which, of course, majority are saying it was a decent one. There are no politics and such kind of things. They really showed Ogola the respect that he deserves. So I want you to respond to this last comment from Cheriot. Then we proceed to the next thing that I wanted us to discuss. So Cheriot is saying that Kenyans are funny. Last year, they were saying Baba is a king of burials.
I don't know if Baba is the king of burials or whatever the case. My point still remains that it still remains the same. Someone who is your relative, a general from the Luo nation, and you're a Luo, you're the perceived king of the Luo nation. The least you can do is show up. You decided not to show up. And not only that, you went to a game laughing and giggling while the whole country is mourning a soldier who was beloved, a general, while you're attending. Afadhali Uhuru was hiding. This man was not hiding. He was laughing at Gor Mahia and FC Leopard, while his relative, who is a national figure, who is a beloved general, the Luo nation is mourning, and he's laughing. How disrespectful that is.
I get you. Okay, let's move on. I think the main topic we are discussing here, I want your view before I go to Bonnie. Sorry for engaging you too much. I hope you have some water next to you. You can take a sip as I give you the update. There is a proposal by Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei, that is proposing the following. Number one, the Nandi Senator is proposing that they increase the term limit of the president, the governors, the MPs and MCAs from 5 to 7. That is proposal number one. In his term limit legislative proposal, he also proposes the creation of the office of the Prime Minister, number two. Number three, he is also proposing that the Senate to vet Cabinet Secretary, Attorney General, Auditor General, Police Inspector General, and the Chief Justice and judges. Then he's also proposing number four, that National Assembly to vet ambassadors, and to marinate it so that this thing can also maybe not get opposed. He's proposing that the counties to get 40% of national revenue. That is an increase from 15. Remember, the Constitution only gives the minimum, but you can give up to the maximum that you feel like. But currently, the Constitution does not allow you to give anything below 15. So he's proposing that they raise it to 40 so that you cannot give anything below 40. And he also proposes that these gubernatorial impeachment cases can be challenged in Supreme Court only, not from High Court to Court of Appeal up to the Supreme Court. So I don't know what is your take on this, and do you think this thing is going to sail through? Because as concerned Kenyans, we feel that this one is too much greed that has been taken extra mile. Kenya Revolutionary, as a concerned Kenyan, do you think this bill is right?
Cherargei is an adjudicated lunatic. He's an idiot that nobody should pay attention to. That bill is not going to pass. The Constitution is very clear, Article 225. They'll go read it. Why are we paying attention to these idiots that come up with bills like that? We shouldn't even discuss this here. There's no way it can pass. And if it passes, Kenyans should riot and remove Ruto by force, and Cherargei and Lituri and the rest of these thieves, colonial puppets who are running this government, including Raila Odinga, the disrespectful conman, and Uhuru Kenyatta.
Really? Kenya Revolutionary, did you drop your microphone?
Yes, I let Boniface Kimani go. He's been quiet for a
Boniface
while.
Kimani, what do you have to check on this? Cherargei is saying that the 5 is not enough. They need 7.
Oh my.
Robinson is agreeing with
can-
you that you're an idiot. Oh, sorry.
What I can say, Senator, Cherargei is known as Ruto's man. People always call him Ruto's man. So it's like he's being used by a lot of people so that he can be the channel to push those legislative proposals. And again, I think they are trying to change this constitution, and we must respect our constitution because we have a lot of things to do in this country. Why are they focusing on these laws, legislative proposals, yet people are suffering because of floods, security, people are dying because of hunger. We have fake fertilizers. We also have people are suffering in accidents. A lot of things to do in this country. So they are trying to reach another laws, another legislatives, so that they can get extension of those powers, because they want to run this country for 50 years. I heard this Baraza saying that Uda will rule for 50 years. So I don't know whether it was true or it was a speculation. But again, he is there. Maybe they want to rule for 90 years. We never know. So that is why they're trying to extend the limits. I agree with what Kenya Rebel is saying. We need to take away these people, but I don't know which name I can call them. But they are doing nothing to this country. I don't agree with those sentiments. They are saying that they are going to increase the term limits for presidents, MCS, MPs. That is greed for power.
That is greed for power. And the next question I'm asking, you've seen how he packaged the proposal in a manner that he wants to convince everybody. Which MP will refuse to increase their own term limit? I don't think so. So he tricked them. Do you think this thing will sail through?
Yeah, it's going to sail through. When you saw Senate and the National Assembly being occupied by UDA, then you know that everything that they are going to propose then is going to be accepted. What you are going to disagree with who? And you know that majority of the Senate and the National Assembly is occupied by UDA. So everything they are going to accept. And you know those people, wherever they were chosen, they are so greedy. People are so greedy out here. So they are doing nothing. I think they are going to accept. They are going to accept and they're going to be passed. The only person who stands firm is Ukia Mtata and Baba Wino and some leaders. But again, they are very few because here it is done by voting. Not unless we boycott this government, because it is going to leave us in a very dark zone.
I get you. Kenya revolutionary. What can Kenyans do to stop this? I don't want to use the term that you use, it's a really hard one. To stop this kind of characters like Cherargei, to ensure that these kind of things are not brought to us.
We should find help from the Wagner group, the Russians, and remove Ruto militarily and put Ruto to jail along with Uhuru Kenyatta and everyone who has served in his government, Matiang'i and all those useless people that were killing people. Put Raila Odinga in a cage, Kodiaga. Torture them to death. That is how we should deal with these people.
Is that not being harsh?
There's nothing. People are dying in Samburu of hunger. Isn't that harsh? Huh? Have you walked in Nairobi and see how Sakaja is eating money while people are working in trash? Is it that harsh? Huh? The SGR, we paid 5 times of that. Is it that harsh? People are dying of hunger. They're eating dead meat of donkeys. Isn't that harsh? Huh? While they're walking around telling us they want to change the constitution. Isn't that disrespect to us? That's why we need to hand them to death.
No, Kenya Revolutionary, I want you to talk of things that are factual. I want to talk of things that are practical, things that Kenyans, me and you can do, not things that are imaginary.
Look at Niger. Were they not practical in Niger? They took up with the Russians and they took off the president. Same thing with Mali. So I need somebody, one of the generals, if they're listening to me, go reach out to Putin and let's remove these people and court-martial them. So it's practical. It can be done. And maybe Ogola was trying to do that. That's why they killed him.
I get you. I get you. Ladies and gentlemen, the comments are not from Afrique, but these are people's personal or own views. And as Kenyans, of course, I have to say that this kind of proposal is so dangerous to a progressive country. We can't have a country where people satisfy their greed, where people think about themselves. Right now, we are having the doctors striking. These senators have not come up with a bill to ensure that they stop the strike. They've not come up with a bill to ensure that there is a proper agreement between the doctors' union and the ministry. But somebody is coming up with a bill proposing to increase the term limit of the president from 5 years to 7 years. When you make a mistake, then you have to suffer for 7 years. Yeah.
And not only that, they want prime minister. They want to.
They also want to create an office of the prime minister, of course. Why?
Thank you.
So are you not seeing it at Kenya Revolutionary? Like when they say we want a term limit to be raised to 7 years and we create an office for the prime minister, is it not a way of ensuring that they convince the ones who are perceived to be in opposition also to join them, whereby at the end of the day, they'll call it a win-win situation? you win the elections, you serve for 7 years, you lose the elections, you also serve in that office for 7 years.
Yeah, that is what NADCO was about. You know,
exactly,
my friend
because
Kimanzi told us
it's something that
Babu,
not only started with NADCO, it started with the
BBI.
BBI.
Yes, and that's why I'm saying when my friend was saying Babu Owino can stand up, but Babu Owino, when it's time to vote, he doesn't show up. Okay?
Do you think this is something that Babu Owino can manage without anybody behind him?
Babu Owino is a cartoon. He's not going to help you. Babu Owino is thinking about becoming governor. Then
no, wait a minute. What did you say? Cartoon?
Yes.
How?
He's pretending to be with the people. He just cares about becoming the next governor, then the next president. Babu Owino will not help you. Okay? Let me tell you the truth. The only person who's honest in Kenya is Okiya Mtata. The rest need to be hung to death in committee. All
Listen,
of them,
Kenya Revolutionary.
everyone.
Revolutionary is saying this. I doubt if Kenya Revolutionary is a registered voter in Kenya. Ogolla was a traitor. How did he and Monica Juma and the like get appointed in the current government or in the current regime?
Who is calling Ogolla a traitor? What did Ogolla do to call him a traitor?
How did he manage to get employed by somebody that the government they were serving opposed him and Monica Juma? Was it not that they were the traitors? They were the people who are. You get it?
No, I don't.
How dare do a general share his personal messages with Duale?
What's wrong with that? Duale is was the whatever CS of what? What's Duale's position? Tell me, remind me again. Interior, whatever.
Defense.
Yes, they share. They share intelligence.
Just a minute.
You're going to call Duale. Anyway.
What is it?
You're going to get to what Duale?
How?
I don't know. Maybe you're his friend, but all I'm saying is this: as the CS of Interior, whatever the case is, he gets intelligence from the generals and other people, CID and all that. So what's wrong with that? I don't get what that.
So Ogolla had to report himself, yeah?
Huh? No, I don't understand why they're saying Ogolla was a traitor. What did Ogolla do exactly? What does that? I'm not understanding that part.
Maybe he'll explain that. So no, you said something so interesting that the only thing that we can do as a nation, already we've been betrayed by the leaders we've elected. We don't have any. None of them can stand for us. It's a matter of fact. We've tried and we've tested. And when they call for demonstrations, these demonstrations doesn't yield anything because the demonstrations are not about the citizens, but it's about their personal interest. So once the interest is served, they call it off. 2023 last year, we saw demonstrations. People were demonstrating for the cost of living. What happened? It was aborted.
Leo, but you know what the problem is, Leo? The reason why we cannot hold these people accountable.
Yeah.
Because someone as intelligent as Leo comes here and tells me that Raila didn't have to go to that funeral because sijui nini, people will have riots. You are still giving excuses for these con men who have been looting this country. And you are a very intelligent man, highly intelligent. So if you're still believing in Raila Odinga, how do you think you're going to change the system if these very people who are conning us?
That's a hard tackle.
Huh?
That's a hard tackle from you.
Yeah, that's a tackle from Saliba.
Goodyear is saying that
Rudiger.
Goodyear is saying this. Babu Owino is the new Homer Simpson.
Yeah, Babu Owino will not help you because the reason why I judge him because when it was time to vote against the finance bill, he didn't show up. Then you saw him.
You already knew that the numbers, they didn't have enough numbers.
Stop it.
He knew
I
his
did not.
vote was going to be inconsequential.
You know, sometimes, Leo, sometimes I can't. I don't know what to do with you.
You get it?
No, I don't. Because did you vote? Listen, your primary job is to legislate. And when there's a bill that is to be debated and voted upon, the least you can do, be like Sifuna. You go there, You vote, even if you lose, you say your name is there that you voted against it. But if you abscond, that means you are not doing your fundamental duty as a lawmaker. So you cannot run to NTV and tell us that, oh, we didn't have the numbers, so I didn't even vote. Then what are you doing in the legislative body?
I get you.
Exactly. So don't come and tell us that, oh, we are going to remove the next kingpin, while you can't even do your job, your primary responsibility. See, this is the games. That's why I'm telling you, we cannot rely on this so-called opposition who have been co-opted to help us revolutionize this system. The only way is to forcefully remove all this taka from Ruto, Raila, Uhuru, and all the members of parliament, all governors and MCA, and torture them to death.
Something that we are not bold enough to do right now.
Exactly. Election will not yield anything. If the process is flawed, let Kenya Revolution understand that we shall be stuck forever. That's what I'm saying. Easy election, I'm telling you, I'll tell you right now, Ruto is going to win 2027, and Raila will be opposition, and we'll be talking about the same things we are talking here. Because they're just...
I want us, let me get to Bonnie. I want us to get out. What I want us is to get out of talking and start acting. I want us to get out of being reactive and start planning and executing. What has been happening in Kenya is that, even including the media, we always reactive, whereby we react to the actions that have been done. We discuss that Raila did this, Ruto did this. We don't plan, we don't execute. We wait for the MPs to vote for an increase in the VAT through a financial Act 2023, then we react on it after they voted, but we don't act to stop them from doing that. Boniface,
before Boniface, let me very quickly. Before we start acting, I have to convince somebody as intelligent as Leo to understand that Raila is not on his side before I start acting, so he can join me in my revolutionary movement. You know? That's why I'm here trying to convince me while you're telling me Raila has, you know, it's okay for Raila to go to the new Mashemeji Derby. Well, this man was supposed to. So I want you to understand who is the real enemy. Then after you understand, you can join me in my revolutionary movement once your eyes are open and you can actually see the people who are taking advantage of us. Thank you. Kimani, go ahead.
So, Boniface Kimani, my question is there a way that we can stop the parliament even from passing these rogue proposals? Like right now, Cherargei is proposing to increase the term limit. Remember, this is a discussion that started immediately the elections were done, and it was brought by a certain MP, though it was dismissed. And now Cherargei is revisiting. He repackaged it in an interesting manner that he is sure no MP will avoid it, because the term limit of the MPs are also going to be increased. Number two, he ensured that those people at the county assemblies, he told them that we are going to increase the allocation from 15 to 40. That is a bait. He ensured that the impeachment of the governors will be challenged only in Supreme Court and such kind of things. So do you think there's a way that citizens can stop this one from happening? Maybe by taking case to court, or even blocking and barricading that parliament or the Senate to ensure that this kind of discussion does not take place? Or sisi kama Wakenya hatujafika hiyo limit ya kukasirika kiasi hicho?
Thank you. What I can say is that Senator Cherargei, he did not come out with these legislative proposals alone. There are some people who are involved behind the doors, and we need to know them, because you cannot just be relaxed and bring out those legislative proposals. There are some people who are involved. So what I can say is that these people are doing a lot of things so that they can change the constitution and can also change the laws of this country. So what I can say is that we need to know how are they going to govern this country. If they are only focusing on changing the constitution and also making sure they make their own laws. And again, Kenyans have no rule to stop this one, not unless we have independent judiciary. If we have independent judiciary, then they can stop this one. But now our judiciary is so corrupted. We don't know if the CJ is doing the work or yet she's there and the deputy was from our region. But again, I understand that. Personally, I'm a Kamba. I don't know why, Leo, you are calling me Boniface Kimani. I'm Boniface Kimanzi. I'm from
Kimanzi, sorry. You know,
no, don't associate me with Kimani. So the CJ is a Kamba. So I think I think she will always act soft. Again, we need to have a solid judiciary that can prevent this government from passing and implementing these laws. Because if we have a soft judiciary, then that is the high rank whereby the laws after they pass from judiciary, then that is all. But again, Kenyans have no say when it comes to this government. So we will suffer until we know that we made a big mistake when it came to 2022 general election. But again, 14 in Kenya.
But no, before 2022, they are planning an extension. So you're saying you'll suffer. You're contemplating that you're going to suffer for 5 years, but they're trying to add another 2 years. So it's a matter of suffering. What are you satisfied to suffer for that time?
You know, personally, I when I saw that the Uda government took over, then I knew that now we are going back to the single party system, and that is what we are going back to. So we are going back to I don't know if it is 1982 or it is 1983.
Yeah, 1982.
So we are going back to the single party system because they are going to make sure that we go back there, and that is why they are trying to make sure that they extend the limits and also make sure that the government is ruled by one party system. Monopoly. We are going to be monopolized in this country and we are going to suffer for the rest of the years. I agree with what Rebel is saying. We are going to suffer. So you should not even say that you are going to benefit from the government. Benefiting from the government went away with Mzee Mwai Kibaki. You will never see that again.
Really? All right, but when I'm getting you, and I can also see from I Inspire Women is saying that, hello, everybody, Kenyans must realize the power bestowed to them by the Constitution and therefore make use of it while it lasts. Kenyans like debating too much, no action. And that's what I was telling you. Kenyans, we are so reactive. We wait for things to happen, then we react. When we can plan and act or execute. Like right now, we already know that Cherargei has a proposal that is going to be tabled to increase the term limit from 5 to 7. But we will be silent, wait for the bill to be discussed, wait for our MPs or the Azimio MPs to walk out, wait for the president to assent on it, then we start debating. Don't you think there are ways that as Kenyans, we can say enough is enough? We can go and do some civic education outside there to our fellow Kenyans who don't understand the dynamics and the effect of these kind of legislations. We can get some of our, we boast that we have some legal minds. We get some legal minds, tell them to go and file cases in court, and we ensure that the parliament doesn't discuss this thing. And if the parliament or the courts which you say are so corrupt and compromised doesn't help, then Kenyans gets back to the first chapter of the Constitution, which says that Kenya is a sovereign country. The sovereign power belongs to the citizens. So as citizens with this sovereign power, then we now say we want to take back our sovereignty that we delegated to the MPs, because as it stands now, no member of parliament is representing the interest of Kenyans, whether in ODM, whether in UDA, in PNU, or in partyless. No MPs in representing your interest. Look at what is happening. Our doctors have been striking. Have you seen any MP presenting, even asking a question concerning that in parliament? Have you seen any MP summoning the cabinet secretary? None of them. What we saw were MPs joining the doctors in a press conference. Yet, They have got the power. They're the ones who vet the cabinet secretary. How dare do they expect us? We are the ones who can join the doctors on the strike, but not MPs. The MPs should come up with legislation even to criminalize CS who doesn't want to listen to doctors. Does it mean that Kenyans are not ready for that? Hatujakasirika ya kutosha? What else are we waiting so that we can start taking action? Like right now, I expect to see Kenyans joining the doctors on the streets and telling the government that, look, these doctors are giving us services. Right now, we cannot receive the services. We are going to block these roads. We are going to block your offices. You MPs will not go to parliament. Nobody's going to Arambe House until you pay the doctors to go to work, is when we'll also go back home. Boniface, have we reached that point? Or we are
messed. We are messed country.
We are really in a total mess. There's no opposition party in Kenya. It is true. In Kenya, we don't have a opposition party. We are in a total mess. We will not be back again to where we are. Okay. But unless we change this government. But again, we don't have any powers. What I can say is that we should also stop voting for this country, because your vote matters nothing. So we should always make sure that whenever you have general elections, Kenya stay in the home so that we can allow the government to take over without any competition. Because even if you're going to vote, Kenyans are so reckless that they vote for leaders who just make them not to know what is happening. So we have a long way to go, we as Kenyans, because we are so dormant. We don't know what we are doing. You can see countries that are well organized. When they have general elections, they are always sure that they are going to make a right decision. But in Kenya, you vote, but your vote counts nothing. A lot of things and malpractices are happening during elections. So we don't have anything to say. So if it is matters of doctor strike, you heard now it's almost 1 month. People are suffering, are dying. But when asked about the money, you are told if you have the money, you can pay the doctors. Okay.
So in whose hands are we safe?
In whose hands? I get you. So Boniface, I just want to look at this. Okay, I'll play a video later. Inspire Women is saying that the other problem in this, if this thing passes through the Senate, the Parliament will be like blinking an eye. Civic education must start. That is true. Civic education must start because they are no opposition party. The citizens should be opposition by themselves. All right, Geoffrey Ruto has reminded me something so important, that why was Ogola's father not recognized during the burial? I think Geoffrey Ruto, that one is one of the, when we are looking at the things that happened right, one of the things that happened wrong, and I personally felt is most of the speakers and almost all the speakers, when they stood to speak, they were recognizing the president, the wife of the president, the deputy president, and Ogola's wife, but they failed to recognize that old man who birthed Ogola. It was so unfortunate, and it was so disrespectful, to say the least. So that one tells you that the organizers of the event, even though it was done by the military, didn't take that into consideration. But I hope that they learn next time when there's such an event and there's an old muse who've lived as long as Ogola's dad, they need to give that kind of recognition and recognize the parent who, were it not for that old muse, Ogola will not have been born, or Ogola will not have given the kind of services that we did see. So it was quite unfortunate, and I believe that they too realized it, that they failed to recognize one of the most important person that was supposed to be given recognition in that kind of event. So Boniface, back to you, the question that I was asking you, how should Kenyans stop this? How best can we do what is called public participation? Bonnie?
There's no way you can do that with this government.
Not to the government. I want us, not public participation, but I want us to do something called civic education, to educate those people who don't know their rights, those people who are not aware of what is happening in this country, that this is what is happening, it is wrong, and you have a sovereign power, and this is how we can stop it.
You know, nowadays we have the social media, and everyone now is digitalized, moving from the analog to digital world. So through social media, people are now aware of what is happening in the country. You cannot just come, even if you go to Turkana or Samburu or upper parts of Moyale, they will tell you that they know what is happening in this country through social media. We have TikTok. We also have the Facebook, which is one of the most followed social media platform in Kenya. People get a lot of information from social media. So you can just get information from social media. You don't need to involve public participation through physical appearance. You can get information from social media. People know. Of course, people know what is happening in the country. So you don't need to tell them what is happening. They know, and they know they have no power of what is happening in the country. Everyone knows. Even if you are holding mama or mzee, your granddaughters and also grandsons are going to tell you what is happening. I'm going to educate you, and you know that we are in a total mess. So
are you trying to say that now we are not okay? Are you trying to say that people are not really telling Kenyans what is happening?
No, Kenyans know. Kenyans know what is happening. So you don't need to tell us. Even if you go to the CBD and yeah, we know what is happening.
So we're just ignoring it.
So what can you do? You can do nothing.
If you go to the street, I want us to have that kind of conversation. I want us to get out of you can do nothing. We are helpless. Only Raila, only this political party. Then we come to a situation whereby we say, okay, we are all Kenyans. We are all suffering. We know this thing is wrong. How do we go about it? Revolutions are not led by political parties or singular individuals, but revolutions across the world are led by masses who feel they are so oppressed, they are tightly held on their scrotum, or to say so. And now, when you push them ahead, they can no longer go forward, neither then can they come backwards. So the only remaining option is to tackle the oppressor head on. Those are the things that have given the fruits of what we call revolution. But if we sit back and say there's nothing we can do, we are helpless, then it means these people are going to milk us dry. They are going to sip our blood up to the last drop that we have. So are we going to wait and see ourselves being drained to the last blood? Or as Kenyans, we are going to wake up, shout, use the power that we have to ensure that nothing negative happens to us under our watch? We've tried the courts, they failed. We've tried the elected leaders, they've failed. Now it is us who are remaining. Do we just run away and now say, let it be? Bonnie, is there a possibility that Bonfires can get 10 people and tell them, okay, guys, this is what is happening? Those 10 people also go and get 10 people. That is how you people transfer information. Then at the end of the day, you get everybody on board who have got the same feeling that things are not done right. Like right now, a sensitive bill is before us. Term limit. We know where it's headed. It might start with 7, it goes to 10, it goes to infinity. Then we start having what is called perpetual presidents. Before you comment, the church is also tired. Listen to this. This is what is coming from the church.
It's hard not to be bitter, especially when you go through situations. Yesterday, me and my wife went to see one of our pastors. And he's one of us. He's in Nairobi district, within the Kenya Assemblies of God. He's a Nairobi district men's chair, director of men in Nairobi district, within the Kenya Assemblies of God. And he was sharing the story of his mother. She's in hospital in Kenyatta, and she needs urgent medical attention. And then the following day, the doctors go on strike. And he went on and on to tell the story. And I don't know if you have ever seen desperation. And I'm looking at him and he's saying the story. And I'm getting angry by the minute. And 2 weeks later, he's holding his mother and she's dying. And there's nothing he can do because there are no doctors and the theater is closed. And he picked up the phone and called a few surgeons, and none of them was willing to come. And so he lay his mother on the bed and he walked out. And he went home. He said, I couldn't stay to watch my mother breathe her last. And I didn't want to cry in front of him. But I was angry. I was angry. I was angry. And I'm still angry. And I pray that I don't get bitter. But what is happening in our country is wrong. Is wrong. And what breaks my heart the worst is that the pastors are saying nothing. The church is mum. And the people who are wasting away in those hospitals are our members. I want you to imagine laying your mother down because there is nothing more you can do, and you walk away because you don't want to see your mother breathe her last. And then I read in the newspapers the wastage in the county governments, the money stolen in the county governments. And I want to tell my governor, Johnson Kasakaja, and all the other governors in this country, the blood of that woman is on your hands. And the CS for health. Because what is happening is wrong. And we condemn it in the name of Jesus Christ. Now I want you to imagine what's happening. In first floor, second floor, and third floor, Kenyatta Children's Hospital. Parents holding children. Their children who are dying. I want you to imagine as a mother for 1 minute. You're holding your child. And the child is dying. Because there is not a single doctor who can attend to your child. What do you think those parents are praying? What prayers are they praying? I know many of you have children. The parents who dedicated their children this morning, I want you to imagine that you're holding your child and you're in Kenyatta. And there's nothing you can do. You can't call anyone because it's your government that has dropped the ball on you. It is wrong. I looked at Eric's eyes yesterday. He's telling me that I walked away because I couldn't watch my mother die. He drove home, and when he got there, he got the call, and he drove back to hospital. God forgive us. God forgive us. There are times you think it's too far away. until it's with you. And yesterday, it was with me. I looked at Eric Odondo's eyes. I'm his district treasurer. And I couldn't even cry. I was looking forward for the time I'll walk out of that home. Kenya is not broke. I repeat, Kenya is not broke. But we have thugs in office. And we elected those thugs. That's the truth. Because we elect people on the basis of tribe, not merit. So we are as good to blame as those doctors in there. And until the day we don't elect on the basis of tribe, but on the basis of merit, then this nation will change. The day you stop voting as a Kikuyu, or as a Nandi, or as a Luo, or as a Luya, then this country will change. Because it looks like every time there's election, we put common sense aside. And we become foolish. It's like we are bewitched. And we owe that young man an apology. And all those women and fathers who are holding their children in government hospitals. And then the child dies in your hands. And you go to the mortuary and there's no one there. And now you have a dead child. There's no one to attend to your dead child. And you can't take a dead child home. My governor in Nairobi and every other governor in this country, I need.
Yeah, that is the voice of the church. I'm getting back to that.
Program in Kakamega that will employ 10,000 young people. We have a program in Kwale. That is the program I'm looking for. And that is why, Abdi, I am telling you, and I want to persuade my fellow countrymen and women, please, let us invest our resources in projects and programs that will create 3, 4, 5 million jobs for the people walking in our streets, our own children, our own blood and flesh walking the streets. Don't walk away from them. Don't say, I have a job. How is it my business to bother about the fellows who don't have a job? Right. I mean, surely. We have a responsibility, Abdi. You agree with me? We have a responsibility.
Okay. We have a responsibility, yes, we do. Taking you back from that housing element,
okay.
You have parachuted into that.
Yeah.
And it seems to be
it's because I am very passionate about it.
Seems to be
because I see an opportunity for this country to change.
Thank you. It seems though it looks like a semantic evasion. Final question on this.
Yes.
Because it's still on appointments. You said the expectation from those who supported you during the campaigns, and you have to place them somewhere in your government. Good example. Hypothetically, we are seated here.
Mm-hmm.
Ayub was your supporter, say, for example, during the campaigns.
Pardon?
Ayub was supporter. I supported you, your campaigns, by financing, but I have no qualifications. Eric Latif didn't support you, but is a Kenyan like me who expects to serve his country. He has the qualifications. He has the merit, for example, let's say. Between me and Eric in your government, who will you pick?
I will pick Eric.
But that is not the case in many aspects.
That is the case.
It isn't.
That is the case.
You have made political appointees.
That is the case.
Awarding competency. And
I appointed General Ogola. General Ogola is among the people who went to Bomas to try and overturn my victory. Do you know that? But because when I looked at his CV, he was the best person to be general. I called him and I sat him down. I told him, my friend, you went to Bomas to try and overturn my victory. But because you are the best person to be general, I'm going to give you the job. That is how it works with me. That's why I told you, if a person has the qualification, if he is the best for the job, I will give him the job.
But that is the military. There's a code of conduct for the military and how politics works in Kenya, Mr. President.
Let me tell you, my friend, I had the opportunity. I could have appointed anybody. I had, I think, 10 choices. I didn't have to. You know, there are people who say, oh, you know, William Ruto appointed Ogola because he was the deputy CDF. That's not the case. I made the decision consciously. And I made the decision against the advice of many people. Many people told me, you should not give this, you should not reward this kind of behavior. Okay. But, you know, I also must be sensitive. What exercised my mind? This gentleman has a good track record. And in fact, when I spoke to him, and it's not something that I should be talking about, but because you have asked a good question. What exercised my mind is this gentleman, yes, he may have made a mistake. Maybe because the commander-in-chief that time told him what to do. Maybe he... And when I talked to him, he told me, I have no defense. He told me, I have no defense. You do with me whatever you want. I cannot defend. It was wrong. What I did was wrong. Yeah? I am also conscious. My good friend Ayub, I'm also conscious that since independence, there is nobody from Nyanza who has ever been CDF. And it also played in my mind that I don't want a situation where a whole community think they cannot occupy a certain office. So many things that are part of my system overweighed the mistake he had done. Okay. You know, so I want to.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for keeping it here. Of course, welcome back. This is a free 24-hour TV, and these are open political discussion. Of course, we are live in YouTube, we are live in X, and also live in Facebook. So if you've not subscribed, followed, or liked our pages, ensure that you look for a free 24-hour, subscribe, follow, and share with your friends. So, but first, you've heard the voice of the church. That is a preacher who, after experiencing what you and I and anybody out there do experience, is giving his opinion. He's saying, Kenya is not broke, but we elect thugs. What do you have to take on that? Let me just go through the comments a bit. Somebody said that pastors can say they're already in bed with the government, which cares less about who is dying or not. And I think that's why the pastor there, the preacher there, said that the worst part of it is that all these things are happening, and the pastors or the church in general is quiet. The church is silent. The other day, you saw the Catholic bishops complaining that work permit for missionaries have been increased, and that is too much. They won't pay. What happened the next day? You saw them being summoned to State House. I hope you saw that. So we've a country whereby few people whom we give mandate or we expect to represent us cannot be able to represent us fully. Because if today they try to voice themselves, they'll be summoned to State House, and because they lack integrity, they'll give in. Are you not seeing a situation whereby wananchi tumeachwa, we are on our own? It is everybody for himself and God for us all. Barfas.
Yeah. I think I have told you that we have nothing to do. We will suffer until we realize that the problem with the country is not the Kenyans citizens, but also the leaders that we elected. They are tormenting us. That is why we are suffering, and we will continue to suffer. So the doctors are on strike. People are suffering. They are increasing every term limits, and people are here just relaxing. So what you can say is that we will suffer, and we are yet to suffer. So things are going to be tough, and we will cope since we have nothing to do. We can go back to the streets, but the way we'll be handled in those streets, it is very tough. going back to streets with this government, then you are risking your life, and you know that life is precious. So you can still live, but you can be suffering at the same time. So it is good to suffer while you are healthy than going to back to streets and being tortured in those streets. So what I can see is that we heard the preacher saying that there was someone whose mother was suffering. So that is true, and that is the effect of the doctor's strike. And again, the president's speech there, why he was asked by one of the journalists there, Ayub, why did he elected Ogola? And he was trying to defend himself that if someone supports him and he has no qualification and the other
Actually,
has
okay, let me
qualification.
bring you up to date. What the journalist tried, he was testing the president on what is called merit. That do you employ based on merit, or you award your political friends? And he was trying to confirm to the president that the president doesn't award merit, because if you look at the CS and everything that he appointed, he awarded the politically correct. Then the president used Ogola to prove, or maybe to defend himself, that he awards merit. So do you agree with him?
William Ruto is one of the presidents whom you cannot even try to know what he's thinking. So maybe he elected him, he gave him the position, but again, you cannot know. Actually, you cannot know what was in his mind. So I can say that whatever happened, happened, and we are ready to go to the next one. Yet our country is moved by choices, not what Kenyans want.
All right, I get you. Kenya Revolutionary, I can see you're back. You've seen a video that I've played. The church is also tagged. They are complaining and they're saying that Kenya is not broke. The problem is that we elect tags. I thought you're the only one who uses that word only to hear it being used in the pulpit.
Yeah, Leo, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something, comment on this whole General Ogola's.
Right.
Huh?
Okay.
Am I clear?
You are clear.
Oh yeah, I wanted to comment on this whole thing about the Tonje rules. I don't know that they have that the president has to adhere to the Tonje rules, where Kamayo, the previous generals from the Navy, the next time it will go to Sujui, I don't know, Army or whatever the case is. But Ruto is right by saying that he chose Ogola by merit. He didn't have to follow the Tonje rules, because people forget, people don't understand, people who argue otherwise. His title is Commander-in-Chief. He's above every general and every Tonje rule in the military. So he can choose anyone, even a junior officer, and make him a general, because that's the autonomy that the law gives him, the latitude that law gives him, the authority he has as a commander-in-chief. So he doesn't have to respect the Tonje rules. You can even look at Kibaki back then. He didn't follow it. Of course, with also, what's his name? This drunk person who left. He didn't follow it either. So this whole argument about Tonje rules, we should stop it. So he's right by saying that, even though, Ogola was allegedly was at Bomas, he had all the reasons to marshal him or whatever, demote him, whatever the case is, but he, promoted him for a good reason, for whatever reason he has. He chose to do so. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that.
I get you. I think that is clear. So now Boniface is saying that we Kenyans are helpless. I just want you, because okay, we've hit our 2-hour time that we had. We have another program running after this, but I just want you to give Kimanzi some courage or some hope that Kenyans, we are not, however much we might feel helpless, we still have some sovereign power that we can use to overturn things?
As long as we start, we recognize the people who are lording over us. We have to recognize who are the real enemies who are taking advantage of us, and work together to remove them. Unfortunately, we have tribalism and every ism and schism in Kenya, so it's very hard. Because if I sit here and tell you that Raila is a con man, every Luo will hate me. And if I tell you Kenyatta is a murderer, every Kikuyu, most Kikuyus will hate me. If I tell you Matiang'i is a killer, most Kisii will hate me. So until we get out of tribalism and become people who can become patriots and come together and remove these people, we'll always fall into the games that these people, colonial puppets, play. And colonial puppets just doesn't stop with Ruto. Ruto is a colonial puppet. Raila is a colonial puppet. Kenyatta is a colonial puppet. Wanatupanga. That's why they're telling us 2027 they'll pass that NADCO without even respect of constitution. In fact, Leo, if you look at, I was looking at Senegal and another country, not only to go that, and I find it very funny that most of these countries that are run by the West, they usually try to change the constitution to extend their term limits and accommodate their opposition. So it seems that like they're taking the same talking points. It is the same
script,
Yes. So it seems to be the same. That's why you see dunderheads like Cherargei.
So in that case, the only person who can maybe resist is the citizens, but not the elected opposition.
Absolutely. So it is up to us to come together and do that. Tukianza kuangaliana sijui UDA, ODM, Azimio, and all this nonsense, we shall be sitting here every day talking about the same thing. So until we unite and remove these people, there's no hope for that, for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kenya Revolutionary, for having that time. Of course, we are just here to inform Kenyans that we should not relax as things go against our wish. It is the right time that we need to have what is called the people's resistance. This is the only thing that is going to restore sanity in this country. And this one can only happen once we've known our rights as Kenyans, we've known our strengths, and we've known everything that we did to ensure that we oppose any rogue government or any oppressive rule or any oppressive law that is being burdened over us. So Boniface, maybe your last sentiment as we wind up.
Thank you, Leo. Thank you for today's show. It's on Monday, and we have tackled a lot of things. I think whoever was following this conversation has got something that he can take home and he can implement. You know, you can also influence someone that can change this country. If one person starts implementing those things that we have said here, then definitely we can change this country. But again, my question that I'm leaving here unanswered is, in whose hands will Kenyans be safe in the next 40 years or 50 years or 90 years, 150 years to come? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Boniface. Thank you, Kenya Revolutionary, and everybody who followed this show. I want to say much thanks, and let us meet tomorrow or in those other programs that are coming ahead. From this end, I just want to say thank you and good
pilot, Captain Sora Mohammed, Captain Hilary Litali, Senior Sergeant.
Tunasonga mbele watu wote wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu. Tunasonga mbele watu wote wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu. Haya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie. Eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri, sote eko Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Eko Jamhuri, sote eko Jamhuri. sisi sote wana